Okay, we're here, day 3 now at the National Astronomy meeting, and we're here with Dr. Sarah Roberts and Dill Faulkes from the Faulkes Telescope Project. Hello.
Hi.
Could you explain what the Faulkes Telescope Project is to some of our readers?
Yep, the Faulkes Telescope Project is an educational project aiming at trying to enthuse high school students mainly in STEM subjects, so science, technology, engineering and maths, through using astronomy as the hook to get them interested in them. So the project itself consists of two 2-metre telescopes, one in Hawaii, one in Australia, funded by Dill here. I'll let him talk about that in a minute. But basically, students during their science lessons or maths lessons or technology lessons or in their school hours can control the telescopes over the internet and just take lovely pictures of anything they want in the cosmos.
And is this open to any school in the United Kingdom, or is it open to anyone else?
It's open to any school in the United Kingdom or anyone who's basically working with education. So even if you're a researcher in a university but you're doing outreach or you're doing stuff in schools, then you can sign up for an account. And we do have amateur astronomers who've got accounts because they help with a sort of real research aspect of the project, so trying to get the kids doing real science in the classroom, not just the pretty pictures.
Okay. And Dill, coming to you, what was the impetus for setting up the project in the first place?
I was very disappointed with the state of education in the country, particularly the demise of maths and science, and the children, typically the age of 10 or 11, who seem to move away from science. So I wanted a project that would try and interest them, and I didn't want to generate a whole new breed of astronomers. I mean, I wanted a project that would demonstrate what science is about, actually doing science. And I approached a number of people and came up with this concept of 2 telescopes. Well, initially it was just 1, but then we got a bit carried away and had 2.
It's been an enormously successful project. I mean, I know from my own results, from my own work, that I've used Faulkes quite a lot, and obviously getting the schools engaged is really amazing. And it's the amount of telescope time that's available to schools that proves, you know, the point of what you can do with this in terms of real scientific research, where some of the major commercial or professional observatories don't have such an extensive amount of time to maybe observe one object. It's been amazing. Can you talk about some of the science that's coming out of Faulkes at the moment?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, we have amateur astronomers who are using the telescopes, and they're part of the education project. So getting the schools involved as the data gatherers, and then helping the astronomers, not just amateur astronomers, there's professional astronomers as well, who need data for their research work. So this poster here that we're standing in front of is a prime example of one of the sort of research topics that we're quite heavily involved in, I suppose, so comets and asteroids. So obviously you know about this work because this was your work which you did with discovering that a comet was cracking up. We work very closely with the British BAA, British Astronomical Association. Yeah, my mind went blank then. With Richard Miles there, and he's in the sort of asteroids and minor planets division of that. So he's done a lot of work with trying to get schools to observe near-Earth asteroids or fast-rotating asteroids. So as they tumble through space and their light changes as they travel through space, schools can actually image the asteroid. They can make little animations, they can make movie files of the asteroid moving, and they can help actually get the data and actually do analysis with free software, because it's all free. They can use free software then to actually look at how the light changes, so you can get a nice little sine wave. So that's the sort of research that we're sort of focusing on at the moment.
It's amazing. I've noticed, I mean, the asteroid, you have the Guinness World Record for the fastest rotating asteroid, I believe, was discovered by Faulkes. It is amazing, I find, that we've got a telescope that's almost the size of the Hubble Space Telescope here, and it's freely, as you said, that's the emphasis here, freely accessible to schools and education in the UK. It's just an amazing resource. What could you say to encourage more people, especially now we've got, you know, major television coverage in astronomy? What would you like to say that would encourage more people to use the telescopes in schools?
I think the main thing would be don't be afraid of using it, because we go to schools a lot and we tell them about the telescopes, and it always seems to be the teachers going, oh well, £5 million telescope, I don't want to break it, so I'm not going to use it. But you can't really break it. Maybe if you tried really hard you might be able to do something, fry the CCD camera. But there's so many resources that we've got available on the website. We're only at the end of a telephone line if you do need help, or the end of an email. So just give it a go and see what you can do.
It's a fantastically simple user interface that's been developed, and as Sarah was mentioning, it is web accessible. Any web browser, you can be using a Macintosh, a Linux machine, a PC, it doesn't really matter. You just point basically a web browser at the Faulkes Telescope website, you log in, and within a few minutes you're actually moving this amazing £5 million telescope. The other thing I'd like to talk about, Faulkes have recently moved their operational base from the University of Cardiff over to Glamorgan, and I believe you started up an undergraduate degree programme which isn't very maths kind of focused. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, about 6 months ago, the whole Faulkes Telescope Education Project moved up from Cardiff up to University of Glamorgan. And yeah, we've started running a degree. It's a Bachelor of Science in Observational Astronomy. So as you say, there is some maths in it. Obviously, there has to be some maths content in an astronomy degree, but it's not as maths heavy as maybe some of the traditional physics or astronomy degrees that you'd find in other, or astrophysics degrees that you find in other universities. So we're focusing more on sort of doing the outreach and education and generally sort of media stuff as well. So the sort of students that we get are more interested in that sort of area as well as the astronomy part as well.
What makes it unique is that they actually get to use a real telescope. Most undergraduate courses in astronomy are theoretical. This is hands-on, real-time using telescopes. Yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Dill, has it exceeded your expectations? From your own work and your investment in this, is it really kind of has it grabbed the attention and the children in the way that you hoped?
Well, we're getting there. I mean, I was saying to someone earlier today that I started this project in '98, and we saw in the lecture just recently that the uptake of children doing astronomy is now an exponential curve. We hope to see 5,000 kids doing GCS astronomy. So I like to think that we've had some contribution to that success.
Well, marvellous. Well, the website is www.faulkes-telescope.com. As I said, you can go on there. They've also got an amazing archive of images, so even if you don't have direct access to the telescope, there's some images that anyone can use for data reduction, for image processing from a 2-metre telescope. It's an incredible resource and I highly recommend it.